The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you here at 5 a.m. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Chris Burton, who is in once again for Alex.
And we'll start with that heat wave this morning. It is our 10th straight day with a flex alert today. Power grid managers have called the flex alert from 4 to 9 p.m. We once again avoided rolling blackouts yesterday, but the power grid is still being pushed to the brink. Residents have been urged to conserve energy during peak evening hours. Governor Gavin Newsom says those efforts have helped avert the worst so far.
Keep doing what you've done. One or two more nights of this, and we will turn the page.
These hotter days just create a lot of demand on the grid. It means our equipment has to work harder.
With all-time record highs being shattered across the West, we're also dealing with another rarity. We have Hurricane K currently circling off the coast of Baja California. This is not something we see all the time.
And we have a major traffic alert that could impact your commute today, or if you had plans out of town this weekend. All lanes of northbound Interstate 5 at Lake Hughes Road are closed this morning until 10 a.m. Crews are working to repair the damage to the freeway caused by the route fire last week. The closure ends at 10 this morning and resumes again beginning Sunday night at 10 p.m. If you're headed to Los Angeles from Bakersfield, also you need to expect delays southbound because 2 lanes will be closed to divert that northbound traffic.
5:04 your time now, and we're seeing massive wildfires breaking out in this heat wave like the route fire. The deadly Fairview fire in Hemet jumped in size yet again yesterday and has now burned more than 27,000 acres. The fire is only 5% contained. New evacuations were also ordered yesterday, with nearly 19,000 structures still under threat. 2 people have died trying to escape the fire, which erupted Monday afternoon amid scorching heat. Terrain and heat issues are combining to make this a difficult fire to contain.
Just talk about extreme heat, right? Record-breaking heat in the state of California, steep terrain, and just the inaccessibility of getting in there. So you got to get crews in, we got to get crews out. There's a lot of one-ways in and one-ways out, so a lot of it is just, it's a complex situation.
11 structures have been destroyed, including several homes, and 3 more have been damaged. The cause of the fire remains under investigation.
The mosquito fire burning in Placer County also exploded in size yesterday, and it's now headed south into El Dorado County. Thick smoke and large orange flames could be seen during the hottest part of the day, burning up a hillside along Mosquito Ridge Road. Firefighters are working diligently to get those flames under control. They've now burned 13,000 acres, and it is 0% contained. Aircraft dropped water and retardant in hard-to-reach canyons as hand crews work to create a fire break next to the road. Pioneer Fire Protection District says they're prepared for upcoming weather conditions that could impact the firefight.
Tonight we should have a little bit of a cooler wind, but it's going to be a more stronger wind coming from the east is what's anticipated.
CAL FIRE reporting that 1,000 structures are currently threatened by the mosquito fire. Evacuation orders and warnings remain in effect.
And fire crews are making big gains on the Radford fire near Big Bear. It's up to 40% containment this morning from just 2% yesterday. And all mandatory evacuation orders have been downgraded to warnings. The fire is burning between Bear Mountain and Snow Summit resorts, and so far has scorched 1,100 acres. The cause of that fire is also still under investigation. Tributes continue to pour in for Queen Elizabeth II. She was Britain's longest reigning monarch and a symbol of stability in an ever-changing world. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington with more about the Queen's life and legacy.
This is a duty I'm especially happy to discharge.
She belonged to Britain, but the world is mourning Queen Elizabeth II's death. President Biden praising the Queen as a steadying presence in a world of constant change.
She was an incredibly gracious and decent woman. And the thoughts and prayers of the American people are with the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth in their grief.
Mr. Biden and the First Lady visited the British Embassy to pay their respects. Tributes also pouring in from past presidents, including former Presidents Donald Trump, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush. The Queen met more than a dozen U.S. presidents in all.
I'm confident that our common values and shared interests will continue to unite us.
Silver and purple lights atop New York's iconic Empire State Building. And the NFL held a moment of silence before kicking off its season opener in Los Angeles. In Paris, the Eiffel Tower going dark Thursday night. Tributes building around the globe for the Queen, who was last pictured meeting with the new British Prime Minister.
She was the very spirit of Great Britain, and that spirit will endure.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau delivered remarks after hearing news of her death.
She was one of my favorite people in the world, and I will miss her so.
From world leaders to everyday people, the Queen's grace and charm touch countless lives.
She's been wonderful, and she's given her life to us.
I guess no one thought the day would come, really.
After 70 years as Britain's longest reigning monarch, Queen Elizabeth II leaving a remarkable, lasting legacy. And President Biden ordered flags at the White House and other federal buildings be lowered to honor the Queen. And Speaker Pelosi ordered flags here at the U.S. Capitol be lowered to half-staff. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
And from outside of Buckingham Palace all the way to Kern County, mourners are captivated by Queen Elizabeth II. Kern resident Pat Chandler served in Her Majesty's Foreign Service in Germany, and Ron Holdsworth served for 6 years in the Royal Air Force.
As time progressed, there were more and more features on the Queen and so forth. And then finally, she ended up dying, and I think we all knew it was going to happen because all the family had gone up there. But it hurts.
Every subject that reaches the age of 100 gets a birthday card from the Queen.
And from California to Florida, people in pubs were closely following the news of the Queen's passing and the former Prince Charles' ascension to the throne. For many, even if the news wasn't a tremendous surprise, it was difficult to deal with.
I think everybody will remember where they were today. It's a huge upheaval for the British people, or even though, you know, it's been anticipated.
Following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, her eldest son Charles has taken the throne as King Charles III. Within 24 hours of a monarch's death, the new sovereign is proclaimed formally as soon as possible at St. James Palace in London by the Ascension Council, according to the British monarchy's rules. A televised address has been scheduled for later today from the King. In a statement, King Charles called his mother's passing a moment of greatest sadness for him and his family and so many people around the world. 9/11 is this weekend, and the Portrait of a Warrior Gallery is hosting its annual remembrance ceremony and fallen hero roll call tomorrow. It starts at 9 a.m. on 9th Street in downtown Bakersfield. The Portrait of a Warrior Gallery features portraits of 27 post-9/11 heroes from Kern County who were killed on the battlefield.
And a flag retirement ceremony and 9/11 remembrance event is happening at the Tehachapi Rodeo and Event Center on Sunday. It starts at 4 p.m. Approximately 1,500 flags have been collected from the Tehachapi community and will be retired.
And we're learning more about a story we first brought you yesterday. A massive fire in downtown Bakersfield destroyed 2 landmark buildings late Wednesday night. 17's Robert Price takes a dive into their history and the loss.
Downtown Bakersfield has been hit with some devastating fires in commercial buildings over the past couple of years. This one at Chester and 20th, just the latest example. But from a historian's perspective, some fires are more devastating than others.
Oh, they burn the same. They just leave scars that linger longer. 2 adjacent buildings, each more than a century old, in the 2000 block of Chester Avenue, were destroyed in a 3-alarm fire that started around 10:15 p.m. Wednesday night. The flames appeared to be under control around 1:30 a.m., but crews were still at it more than 12 hours later, knocking down flare-ups. City Building Director Phil Burns said the city already had 13 buildings on its list of unsalvageable structures set for demolition.
This will be 14 and 15.
Few of the thousands who drive past them every day may realize it, but both buildings have long, colorful histories. Steve Humphreys, a trustee with the Kern County Historical Society, used to walk the downtown beat as a Bakersfield police officer.
This building on the corner used to be the Masonic Temple, built in 1890. It was 3 stories tall. It was a beautiful, ornate building. And then after the quake, they took the upper floors off like they did on so many other buildings downtown.
It's had many lives. It was the C.M. Stolen Company Harness and Saddle Shop, roughly 1905 to 1909, Security Market in the 1930s, and then thrifty drugstore for another 30 or 40 years. Next door, the more seriously damaged of the two buildings, was the Weil Ferguson building, built in 1909. Ferguson Apartments on the top, several businesses on the ground floor, including a tamale grotto, Grog's Theater, California Market, and for a time, Woody's Toy Circus. It survived the 1919 fire that raged just a block or so down Chester Avenue, and of course the 1952 earthquake, only to be done in by what appears to be arson. A neighboring business owner who didn't want to go on camera tells 17 News he often saw vagrants entering the structure through the alley by climbing a fire ladder stored here. Kern County Museum Director Mike McCoy, who has helped preserve many historic buildings and artifacts, says the city fire department has to be more forthcoming in its fight against arson.
Well, we're having a rash of arson fires in Bakersfield proper, and some pretty significant homes have gone up. Some of them are historical. And I think we really need the city and the fire department needs to amp up their public information.
Bakersfield City Councilman Andre Gonzalez says the city needs to better enforce its existing vacant property ordinance and pass a chronic nuisance property toolkit that's been lingering in draft status limbo for 2.5 years.
We have to accelerate this work. We have to be far more aggressive. If we need more code enforcement officers, let's get them hired.
Frustration is mounting as Bakersfield loses one historic building after another.
The Great Bakersfield Fire of 1889 wiped out this city block and much of downtown. Ironic that now in 2022, the very same corner wiped out by fire once again. In downtown Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.